right that you have your name to in the participants list, and you can also, if there's space, and there might be a little bit space, to have your organization too, so then we know that where do you come from and who you are. And some other rules, so you can have your cameras on now so we can see you, but then when the speakers start, so then I hope that you could turn your cameras off and microphones off when the speakers are speaking. And when we have discussion, so then you can open your camera, and in the discussion when we are going to talk, so you can then raise your hand for all the information that you have something to say. And then in breakout rooms, so you don't have to raise your hand, you can just talk freely. And you can add questions to the chat whenever you want. And during those discussion times, I will also pick up some discussions from the chat. And who we are. So here is myself, Laura, and Hugo present, and I hope that Ott and Anne are arriving too. We are part of excuse me, could you close your microphone? Yes, so we are members of this kind of fundraising developing team that is for a project that runs for 2 years. And we have a project called Financial Stability Through Sharing and Learning. And now, at first we had 5 countries, but now there's only 4 countries. That is Caritas Finland, Caritas Estonia, Caritas Portugal, and Skia from Scotland. And we have our own development programs in our countries. And then we have these webinars, and this is our second webinar. And here is our agenda. So we have 4 speakers from different parts of Europe. And then we have...
So, Laura, the slides are not passing.
Oh.
You are in the beginning of the slide, in the first one.
Oh, okay. Well, that's okay. I will send the slides afterwards.
Yeah.
And then you can see. But each speaker will then present their own slides and their own themes and topics. And yes, Hugo, did you have some kind of warm-up question, or to know that who we are and where do we come from and what do we do?
Yes, I think it's hello, good morning to everyone. I think it's important everyone put the name, your name and the Caritas. If you please rename, just to know who are you, have an idea. And I see a lot of people without the camera. So, Laura, we can do it later, like after the coffee break or something like that, you know?
Okay.
Don't think it's necessary now. People are arriving, so is it okay?
That's okay.
You already have also you already have Ana Isabel in the room, the first speaker. She's already with us. And Isabel, it's not from Caritas. It's external. She's joined us. She's a speaker, and she's going to talk a little bit of her experience. Laura, can we do? Do you want to present an Isabel? Can I present and start the webinar, or do you
Yeah.
have more questions to or more information to give?
I don't have any more information, so I'll go to our first speaker.
Okay. So, welcome, Isabel. Welcome to the Caritas family. We have Caritas here from around Europe, from national countries, structures, and also from dioceses. It's small structures in each country. And Isabel, she's a researcher, is a professor in the Amsterdam University. For a long time, she's studying corporate communications, corporate social responsibility policies, the way that corporate and NGOs are working together. And currently, she's doing a survey, a European survey, related with these topics. So it's a pleasure to have Isabel, an external expert, with us, and she's going to share a little bit what she's doing now. And the floor is yours, Anna. Thank you very much to be with us.
Thank you, Hugo, for the invitation, and thank you everyone for being here today. I will maybe start sharing a few slides. Okay. All right. Can you just confirm that you see my slides correctly? Okay. So as Hugo said, I am an assistant professor at Vrije Universiteit Amsterdam. And my research is indeed around topics on corporate communication. And lately, I am particularly interested on corporate social responsibility, particularly the partnerships between NGOs and corporations and the communication of those partnerships. So just to give you a little bit of background on where all of this comes from, we are working on something that we call the CSR Hub, which is a place for transdisciplinarity. And this is sort of an important keyword nowadays in academia, that you do research that is linked with societal outcomes and in collaboration with societal partners. So with this idea, we created the CSR Hub with the goal of linking academia and societal stakeholders that are interested in this main question. So how can corporate social responsibility have a positive impact on society through communication? And the idea of the CSR Hub is that we can merge everyone that is interested in this main question, and we can do research and we can disseminate research to the societal stakeholders. So not only we learn from these stakeholders, but we also pass them the knowledge we gather on this topic. So what I will present here today is the first results that are still preliminary, because I am still conducting this research until the end of the year. I'm still doing and collecting data, but I am sharing with you my first impressions on the topic. Later on, if you are interested, throughout the year of 2025, I can share with you the final results of this study, hoping that it can be helpful for you in your fundraising efforts. Maybe I will then get in touch with Hugo and you can just spread the word, or if you want me to organize a short webinar, then on the full project, I can also do that. We see that later. But just to give you a little bit of context on what you are about to see. And the CSR Hub has a core team. So it's me and my colleagues, Guido van Koningsbruggen and Julia Ranzini, also from my department of communication science at the Vrije Universiteit Amsterdam. And we are doing several studies at once. So I have these interviews that I will tell you more about later. We are also doing experiments online. So when a corporate brand is presented, for example, on social media, right next to an NGO brand, what are the effects that this has for the NGO and for the cause supported by the NGO. We are also doing some other quantitative and qualitative studies. So there is a lot going on right now in terms of data collection. And the departing point for all of this was, what about society? And we know that actually corporate social responsibility, yes, I will share the slides afterwards, of course. So the collaborations between NGOs and companies can be very visible and can be very impactful. So in my research, we go from the starting point that we know that actually by having companies supporting NGOs, these can have a very strong impact on communities and on the NGO. So that is not the question. Our main question has to do mainly with the communications, because NGOs and companies operate from different standpoints in society. So NGOs primarily are interested on a welfare logic, so on doing good for the world, for the community, for their causes. But companies, because their main goal is to make profit, otherwise, I mean, they will just cease to exist. They prioritize market logic, they put their own stakeholders first, and they embrace management principles, accountability, and governance mechanisms. This is to say that also I'm not portraying, NGOs as good and companies as evil. That is not it, but just the whole idea behind the reason of why the organization exists is very different, and this can create some disruption sometimes. There is a lot of evidence that communicating about these partnerships is highly beneficial for companies. However, the advantages of communicating them are really not studied for the NGO side. So we know indeed doing CSR is good for the NGOs, but communicating about it, we really don't know how this works and the effects that this has. So with this idea in mind, we established 4 main research questions for these interviews. So how are corporation and NGO, so cross-sector partnerships, established in the first place? Are the benefits on both sides considered when establishing the partnerships? How is the communication co-created between the two parties? And how are the societal benefits assessed and by whom? So with this in mind, we conducted interviews with practitioners. We have conducted 26 interviews counting today. I still have a few more to go. We interviewed NGOs and corporations from several countries, so from Portugal, the Netherlands, Poland, and Belgium, and quite a few multinational companies from very different sectors, because our idea is to get a very wide perspective on this. So we are not focusing on one specific sector, but on these partnerships overall. And you can see that indeed this is a very diverse sample, allowing for different views. And then what I will present now is, as I said, the preliminary results. So this is based on my impressions so far. So I got to a few conclusions regarding how are the partnerships chosen and the number of partners that are established. And we see some differences between companies and NGOs. So we see that companies choose their NGO partners based on alignment and reputation. So how aligned is the operation of the NGO with the strategic goals that the company has determined for their CSR. And they prefer to work with NGOs that are well known and reputable in society. And larger NGOs also seek partners that align with their societal goals. So between larger NGOs and corporations, there seems to be, in both cases, a strategic interest in the choice of partners. Smaller NGOs are more flexible. They are just interested in securing any partnership that will allow them to secure essential resources, for example, funding and staff. It's a bit as if they cannot afford to really choose these partnerships. So the strategic intent for smaller NGOs is not that clear. In both cases, both companies and NGOs work with multiple partners. So it's not the case that companies often exclusively choose one societal partner to collaborate with, or that NGOs only work with one company. However, both for NGOs and both for companies, there seems to be the case that many choose to have less partnerships, but with more visibility and with more impact. So there seems to be the case that both for companies and both for NGOs, there is more benefit in have less partnerships, but with more visibility and with more societal impact. This has to do with the challenge of managing a lot of partnerships by the side of the NGO. So NGOs, again, especially the smaller ones, find managing numerous partnerships very challenging because, I mean, the resources of an NGO are mainly focused on, making your societal goals real. So there is really not many resources devoted to these partnerships. But interestingly, this idea of project visibility is very important for corporations. And this has to do with communication. So companies know very well the advantages that being visible in these partnerships can bring them. So they are interested in bigger partnerships that are more visible and that can bring them more rewards. So I would say, if I have to give a practical tip here, would be to show how can these collaborations with companies, how can you make them more visible so that it's more appealing for the company to collaborate with. So communication seems to be a key aspect here that could be leveraged by NGOs strategically. Then there are a few considerations regarding the risks and rewards of these partnerships. It is reported by many of the companies that they have had cases in which they failed, they terminate partnerships that just failed to meet the goals. Mostly what the companies say is that often the NGOs fail to report back on or to report as thoroughly as expected on how was the help that they gave used for. But NGOs do not seem to report this on their side. So there seems to be some sort of cognitive dissonance from both parties on how this is seen. And this relates a little bit with the first point. So in terms of rewards, the corporations value partnerships that help them advance their strategic and societal goals. So again, they see these partnerships very strategically, whilst the NGOs are really just focused in terms of rewards on, making the execution of their products, of their projects possible. And then we get to what for me is the most interesting part. So which role can communication or which role does communication play in all of this? Usually the public communication about these partnerships is co-developed or at least approved by both parties. It is often the case that the company takes the lead and then they seek the approval of the NGO. Only larger NGOs have this as a requirement. However, all the companies I interviewed mentioned that it is a requirement, and often it is established in the agreement that is signed when the partnership is established, that no communication can be done without their consent. NGOs seem to be more flexible and often seem to be reluctant in intervening when this is not the case, or when the information that is conveyed about the partnership or about the NGO is not accurate, because they feel a certain power imbalance in this relationship. Even with larger NGOs, this seems to be the case. So all in all, it seems that in the corporate side, things tend to be more deterministic. So it's our rules or else. And on the NGO side, there seems to be a lot more flexibility in both how are the partnerships managed and communication. So I definitely feel that in most cases there is some sort of power imbalance in these relationships, which, if we think of CSR as, just the companies putting themselves out there, being good neighbors and just as being a part of society, is not very logical. But because we are in a context in which, there is the one that gives and the one that receives, right? This tends to generate some discrepancies. However, I would say, again, as a second informal tip and preliminary one, is that if indeed this relationship is strategic, this question of the power imbalance should not happen. So when a partnership is negotiated indeed as a strategic partnership with benefits on both sides and with risks assessed on both sides, and where both will actually gain from the partnership, the question of power imbalance is not as prominent. And it actually seems that corporations sort of favor that, because they prefer to work with NGOs that are more professionalized, that report back thoroughly. So this idea of having less partnerships, more professionalized, but in which corporations, give larger contributions, seems to be sort of the trend of what the corporations are seeking nowadays. Interestingly, some companies prefer to not publicize their CSR activities, viewing them as a societal duty, and many limit the NGO communications or require pre-approval. I also had cases in which the corporation said, like, if the NGO wants to communicate about this partnership, that's fine, but we don't do it ourselves. But in those cases, the strategic intent is not as clear as in the other cases. So there seems to be sort of two groups of corporate founders, one that just, do good for the sake of doing good, while the others do good for their strategic sake. I mean, they are both doing good in the end, but just the way in which you leverage communication in both cases is quite different. I have talked to a few NGOs that are quite successful in attracting corporate funding, and they seem indeed to use communication as a transactional benefit, sometimes even proposing creative ways or being proactive in proposing on how can these partnerships be communicated publicly, so that we can spread the word about all the good that you are doing, even within our network. So I saw that they even leverage their own audience to tell, okay, so we reach, I don't know, every month X number of people through our newsletter. So by collaborating with us, everyone that receives our newsletter will know about this. Everyone on our social media will know about this. And this is a very concrete strategic way in which I see that these NGOs are leveraging communication as a strategic tool to offer companies. And I think I used my time, right, Hugo? I wasn't really keeping track.
That's on time, Anna.
Oh, great. Okay. So I also want to leave time for questions if you have them. So yeah, I'm happy to answer. Let me just stop sharing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Anna. Thank you. I will open to the audience. If someone wants to ask Anna Isabel about anything about the presentation she made, any question, any thoughts, yeah, please feel free to do it. If not, I can launch a question.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Anna, when you by the way, first of all, thank you for your presentation. It was really nice.
Of course.
I think when I saw the research, mostly we have countries, corporate and NGOs from Portugal, as I thought, Portugal, Netherlands, and
Belgium
and Poland.
yes.
One question is, do you think, well, it's your first impressions, but with this research, do you think it's, you have a picture of the entire Europe, or it's just a part of the countries and the ways that NGOs are working with the corporates? Because, or in other ways, can you feel difference between, for instance, the South countries as Portugal, or between Belgium and the way the NGOs and corporate are doing, or you don't have that findings or conclusions so far?
Yeah, I do not. I cannot really say that I've noticed a big difference between the countries that I have studied. I'm not sure about the countries I did not study, but especially, I mean, Poland, I have a smaller sample, but especially Belgium, the Netherlands, and Portugal. I interviewed quite a few people there, and the difference seems to be between smaller NGOs and larger NGOs, not really across countries. So this lack of professionalization that is reported by companies happens from both Portuguese companies and Dutch companies, and the same for the NGOs. These difficulties in tracking and keeping multiple partners. So I do not feel like a big cross-cultural difference. We plan later on to transform this into a cross-cultural quantitative survey covering more countries in Europe, where indeed I will be able to tell you, with more certainty, because still, in interviews you can only cover so many people, with more certainty about the cross-cultural differences. But my impression so far, I have not noticed that actually.
Thank you, Anna.
You're welcome.
Okay, do we have more questions? Yes, Monica from Caritas
Austria.
Vienna.
Yeah. Hi.
Hi.
One question is like, what is your recommendation out of these results?
I would say that first of all, my feeling is that more successful NGOs in terms of corporate fundraising are as strategic as the companies in these partnerships. So I would say that at the risk of sometimes losing a few corporate partners, I believe it is worth it to have a very clear goal on what is it that you want to achieve with these partnerships, and perhaps say no to the ones that do not fulfill your strategic intent. Because the cost of managing and reporting back on these partnerships is very high for NGOs. It's really difficult. And it's only worth it when indeed these partnerships are meeting your strategic intents. And corporations sort of seem to value this because they also seem to value a more professionalized approach from the side of the NGOs. So there needs to be a match between the strategic intent of both. So you are serving the goals of the company, but the company needs to be serving yours. And these reflects in the way you communicate, in the power dynamics, in the public communications, and all. So yeah, that would be my main suggestion. So just to give you an example, a different example, because most of the times this is about getting companies to fund you, to give you money. But let's say that you are very interested in increasing the visibility of your NGO, right? So then you might be strategically interested in collaborating with companies which, by communicating this partnership, can make it very, very visible, right? So then you prioritize these. These are the ones you seek, so the ones that give you visibility, for example. And this can be the case because if we see these sometimes in Christmas campaigns. I'm Portuguese, so I'm thinking of Caritas Portugal. You often see them in the media associated, for example, with brands that are like, I remember, like the supermarkets, about the candles. I don't remember the name of the campaign, but
candles. Yeah,
exactly. So that's in my head, like, because this brand has a lot of money to publicly communicate about it, and Caritas brand just follows all of that communication. So it's not only great for the fundraising, but for exposure as well. So strategically, you really need to think of the main goal and prioritize that. Although I do realize that what I'm saying is quite hard because it's not an abundant resource, right? Money. But if it does not serve you, do not follow through with it. I would say that's my impression.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We have time for one last question. So it's now or never.
I wouldn't say never.
It's now or now. Okay, Anna, we're going to present next. I will present the kind of study case in Caritas Portugal, how we work with companies. If you
Great.
want to stay with us, you are more than welcome.
Yes, I will. I can stay until 11:30, as I told you. Unfortunately, then I have to leave, but I will be very happy to stay and listen if that's okay.
So feel free to stay with us. Okay.
Thank you.
And thank you for sharing.
Thank you, and feel free anyone to reach out at some point if you feel like I don't know, I could be helpful in any way. I'll be happy to give back because Hugo has been such a great help to me. So I'll be happy to give back in advice to Caritas.
Just another question. Do you have do you know do you know where you will have the final results of your study, of your research?
It will be around summer 2025 because, as I said, we still have a lot of other things going on, and academia is not known for being very fast, so it will take us some time. But around summer, I will have the results, and then I can make them available through Hugo.
Yeah, that will be very nice and kind from you, Anna.
Of course,
I will share for the network. Okay.
Of course.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So Laura, can I continue, right? I will continue. Okay, so welcome again to everyone. Now I'm going to present very briefly our case in Caritas Portugal, how we start to work with corporate fundraising in a more strategic and planned way. So it's starting from the presentation of Anna, I think we consider ourselves as a smaller NGO, and the way we act with the corporate, we are a small NGO indeed. So I will present a little bit how we are doing this. Let me share. Okay, can you see it? Yes. Okay. Okay, so what we are doing here in Caritas Portugal, just a very an overview what we are doing. We are making a diagnosis of our donor companies. We have a CR arm that we are using as a database to gather all this information and try to get these figures. And so far, we have almost 400 active donor companies. We consider this criteria at least one donation in the last 4 years. As you can see here in the graphic, we have the number of donor companies changed a lot per year. So this is one company that gives a donation in a year. And as you can see, it changed a lot. And one thing that we really noticed is we receive a lot of donation and in-kind donations as well when we have emergency campaigns. For instance, in 2019, Mozambique, with the Hurricane Idai and Kenneth, we had a lot of companies, but actually it was in Ukraine that we had a huge number of new donor companies and a huge number of companies that give a donation in that year. As you can see in the 2020, it was the COVID-19 mostly of the companies didn't have money because they were in lockdown, they're facing some uncertain scenarios, and they give us a lot of in-kind donation. And so far, we are measuring the numbers for this year, and they will increase for sure, because mostly of the companies give donation during this period, during November and December, during the Christmas and the Advent periods. So in 2022, with the war in Ukraine and with a lot of companies that we have, we see the opportunity to work better with the companies. That's what, and in Portugal we are a small team. We are only 13, 14 people, and in fundraising it's only me, for mostly for individual giving. And then we hired in August 2002 a freelancer to work with us, especially in corporate fundraising, because we had a lot of companies and we were trying to convert them not only for emergency donations, but for other situations, for other campaigns, for other programs. And then we start to contact companies. We create a presentation, we create some information about our programs, about how we are structured, about our needs, and so on. And then we started to asking companies essentially these three things: financial donations for the national programs, the selling candles that Anna was telling in her presentation. It's our merchandise campaign to get funds during the Christmas, and also donation of goods in kind donations. And then we started to, as you can see in this label, we started to evaluate, assess, and to see how was the result, or how was the success about these contacts. And then we started to see and make analysis of the requests that we made to the companies. And also during this period, during 2022, we also receive contacts from companies. So it was mostly proactive from our side. The contact was made by Caritas Portugal, but also, as you can see, we received a lot from companies. Caritas Portugal are well known in Portugal. One thing that Anna was mentioned, it's interesting because sometimes companies go behind NGOs more famous, with more visibility, and so somehow we receive a lot of contacts from companies. And then we just make an evaluation about the sector activity. Mostly of them was from the foods and food sector, the textile sector, the bank, and others. So there was a very diversity of companies. And then we also analyze the request. We have the one we made it. We have positive and negative. Mostly of them was positive. And as you can see in this graphic, mostly of the requests we made it, we received financial donations, 21%, 50% of the selling candles, 19% of donation in goods, and 14% other contributions. So it was a quite good rate success. But also we analyzed the 24 negative answers that we received from companies. There's several of reasons that happen, but mostly of them was they didn't reply and we didn't make the follow-up that it's so necessary. 25% it was other reasons. 21% was refused by Caritas Portugal or by our Caritas dioceses in the national network, because it was sometimes related with what Anna told. It's or we didn't have dimension, or we didn't have a logistical structure, or it was not meeting with our strategic goals or our values, and sometimes we had to refuse them. And also we receive a lot of corporate volunteering from companies. So my suggestion, so this is the last slide, I'm almost finished. It's we with this analysis, and once we are starting to work with corporate fundraising, we found that sometimes companies already have their programs established. So sometimes it's different to offer different things from our side. Financial support sometimes is very difficult, except in emergencies. Mostly of the success rate I was showing here of financial donations came from companies not in a proactive way. So it was companies that came to us, Caritas Portugal, and give the financial donations. And we felt it was very difficult when we were doing a proactive way to get that financial support. So what we recommend, we are thinking, it's investing in strategic partnerships, as Anna said before. We really want to make programs more with impacts, more attractive for corporates, and that's a thing that we have to work on that. But as I mentioned, we are a small NGO, so we don't have so many resources to do it. We want to replicate good practice from other Caritas, as a Caritas Spain, what they are doing with the hotels, that it's really nice. Also with IKEA, with Caritas Luxembourg, and also with corporate volunteering, we are receiving a lot of askings, and we have to create a kit to match our needs and the needs of corporate. Sometimes it's not easy to put in practice, and sometimes it's not useful and worthwhile for us. And also, candles was a good thing. We want to keep on increasing this campaign with the candles. Okay, so thank you. I have someone with I'll stop sharing. So I think I take more time than I was expecting to. So I have one hand. I will, please, Vazgen Armenian from Caritas Armenian.
Hello, thank you for your presentation. I have a question. How long does it take after working with freelancer to prepare documents for applying to companies?
I don't know if I got it. How long we take?
How long does it take to prepare documents with the help of freelancer?
Well, when we send these presentations, we made one strategy for all. We didn't have time because our team was small, and I know this is not correct, but we create a presentation and we send it in massive for our database contacts in our companies. But we should prepare more specific documents for each corporate companies that we have when we are talking with them. Do I ask your question, Vazgen?
No, I just want to know about the time sheet. How long does it take to prepare the documents? Because as I understand, before freelancer, you don't have documents for applying to for grant or for donation.
Mm-hmm. Yes, before we hired the fundraisers expert, we didn't have anything we didn't have a strategy, we didn't have a plan, we just were reactive, And then we took, I don't know, 4 or 5 months to prepare the presentation, to start thinking how we can put in practice this really relation with corporate. I don't know, probably 6 months once she started to work with us.
Thank you.
Welcome. Laura, I don't know if someone has more questions.
I don't see any hands, but then I hope that we could go to our next speaker.
Perfect.
We have Aleksandra's turn.
Aleksandra from Poland, right?
Yeah.
Okay, hello.
Hello.
So my name is Aleksandra. I'm responsible for fundraising department in Poland. And today with me is my colleague Maya. She is responsible for cooperation with companies. And Maya will share with you a short presentation. But before that, I would like to add regarding to what Hugo said before, that we had a lot of donation from companies when we have emergency campaigns or some humanitarian appeal. So in that time, companies are very open to support the projects, and it's the best time to build relations with them because we have a big database, and then we could come back to these companies and ask them to support other programs. I think that what is important, that in Poland we are the biggest NGOs. So I think that for companies, corporates, it's really important to can cooperate with us too. Like Anna said, communication is really important. So if you have NGOs which is really known, and people have they just know the brand, it's really important for companies. What is important also is that in Poland we have donation in kind, but it is not in our department, in fundraising department. So it's separate from us, but companies really like to offer their products than money. So we have, a lot of donation in kind, but it's also, open way to talk with them about financial support, of course. And our department, we have 11 persons in fundraising, but in corporate fundraising, now we have only Maya. And I think, Maya, that I will introduce you, so I think that floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Ola. Hello to everyone. With some of you, we will be together in Rome. That is nice to see you again. So I want to introduce you in our world, how we do this in Poland. I have a few cases. And of course, if you have some question, I will like to ask them in this moment when I will present you. So normally every day we have teams, but I can try to share. Oh, yes. Did you see my presentation? Yes.
Yes.
Oh, that's great. So let's start. Like Aleksandra said, because of big things, we have new donors. And the big things it is 2022 war in Ukraine, and this year was flooding on the south of Poland. And that's why we have a lot of new companies. They never pay, give our donation. But after the first days of war in Ukraine, of course, I contact with these donors and I present our project. But I know that more of them want to pay once because of big things is happened, but not regularly, and they don't want to be a part of the project. But it's okay if we know that how many organization, how many business partners is like this, then we can put our energy to build relationships with the companies who want to be a part of our project, want to build something more than only give our money. So how can we can find business donors? I think that everybody knows how it is, but I said that I want to say that to clear the situation. Of course, business profile analysis. You make. I think you make the same before you contact with potential donors. You find a website of this company, what he made, what kind of factory it is, what kind of business it is. And of course, I looking for CSR department. They have or not? If not, I propose to help them with our project. If they have, then I look the next part, what kind of project they have. They make every year a new project with the same organization, or they made every year the same kind of project, but they made themselves. They didn't. They made CSR without NGO. Sometimes I find something like this. Last week I had a meeting with company who is responsible in Poland for railroad track renovation. This is a big company, but they made CSR themselves without NGOs. That I want to open the doors and go inside, of course. So how look this? I looking for information. How looks this CSR, and what I can propose them. If I find a type of the business, for example, a product for seniors they made, or they have a product for children, or what kind of CSR they made, what kind of project, then I propose something for them. And what is the next step? Of course, I've sent the first email to CSR department. It's easier if they have CSR department. If not, I'm looking for a PR department, marketing department. If not, I want to the sale department, because I think that this is important to be close to these people, not send this email for office email and then gmail.com. If you send your proposal for not personal email address, I think this is going to the trash. And our work is not give us nothing. So in this first mail, I invite them for a coffee. Do you want to meet me and drink with me coffee? I want to invite you to our company, or I can going to your place. If they say yes, of course, I organize a meeting, and I send and I talk about proposal of project. Of course, this is my proposal from this from my research that I made before, but very important is to give a business time to talk. We have to listen carefully and note every moment when they have some kind of information. How big is budget? What we can do together? What kind of what type of beneficiaries group is interesting for him? And many of this information. And when this is not only one meeting, you know the situation. This is a first email, first call, first meeting, second meeting. Sometimes I made this half year meetings, emails, Zooms, and after one partner, after 1 year, when we talk about a project, we start with them. But I know that for a relation, everyone need a time. So when I sent this proposal, and of course, when it's okay, then we start. What we start, and I said in the next few minutes, but for that what I said before, that is a special dedicated program for biggest business donors. But when we have us, okay.
Maya, it's really important to tell that in Poland, Caritas Poland supports almost each group who need helps. So we can suit our proposal, our offer for companies, and connect it with their goals and their CSR strategy, for example. So our situation is really good in this conversation with companies.
Yes, that's true. But if we have a very small company, they don't want to pay a large of money, but want to support us. So what we can do? No, we not propose them a big program to be a part of big program. Of course we can, but for them we have a special things on the on down of the slide on the right corner. You see a logotype of our project. This is sorry, because when I make like this, I can back. This is a Club of Good. Klub Dobra in Polish. And in this club, we invite very small enterprises and we offer them this logotype. They can put this on this website or in foot of email. That's first. Second, we propose them regularly donated for Caritas, for all of this project, but sometimes for a special of kind of for children, for seniors, and we propose type of regular donation. That's example, monthly, every half year, once on the year. And first, this donor have to going to our website, who is dedicated for this program, and fill a special. I forget this word. Special forms. Yes, because we need information. Yes, special forms because we need information what kind of company it is, and we need we need to know how many times of the year you want to pay a donation for us. And this is program for small and medium enterprises. And
yes, and this companies which we contact, we are asking for smaller amounts. So the communication is, we know that you are a small company, but you can also support our big projects. So be regular, and for example, choose a small amount, like, I don't know, 50 euro, 100 euros per month, and you will be part of big project, you know. So you have your, you will get some extras from us, but you have to know that if you are a small company, you can do a lot of good. It's that more or less the communication for the small companies.
yes, and you as a part of Caritas family, you can help more of people. So this is for a small and medium enterprise, and what we have for biggest business, charity forum. Once a year, we organize the charity forum. On the round table, together sit our business partner, fundraising staff, and project staff, because often people from business want to know people who spend this money, because they know me, then I collect this money, and they want to know who spent my money, and they have a lot of questions, because this is a special time for build a relation between this donor and this our professional staff. They ask about Syria, Yemen, because we have there our activity. They ask about programs for children. For every question they have answer. And I know after this charity forum, the people from business said that this is a good idea, because I can like privately give a question, and I have answer. So this is a special occasion when we can personally say thank you for a business, thank you for your attention, thank you for your help, thank you that you support us.
Yes, and it's a annual event, and it's also connected with, you know, elegant dinner with some concert. So and we also invite our major donors. So it's also very good occasion to meet, for example, director from one company with director from another company, or with some, you know, very rich people connect together. So it's really good evening for networking for them. So it's the second value of this event for them.
And we look with Olga like princess, of course, for this evening. but after that, we have a very good comments that we provide this evening professional, and this is a special occasion to talk with us about every project. So, and I want to go to case study first. This is from guys from Portugal. They know Jeronimo Martins. They are in Poland. They have 3,600 of shops. Jeronimo Martins is owner of the Biedronka chain of stores, and the owner of Biedronka Foundation. This on the right side. And from this both side, we have a special program. From the shops, we have, in English, Caritas Pantry. We collect of out-of-date food, 6,800 tons. This is 20 millions of euro from last year. Next step, next program, this yes, I help. Tak pomagam. Yes, I help. This is a food collection. We made this 2 times of the year, before Christmas and before Oster. And this year in March, we collect 300 tons only from Biedronka shops. Every year on the end of the year, they give us mascots and books. That from last year, that was 650 pieces of pallets. That was 300,000 of pieces of goods. That was mascots and books. That was 1,200,000 euro. And of course, because this is a big partner, we have with them occasional collections. That was help to Ukraine and support people affected by flooding this year. And what we have with Biedronka, of course, we have special communication. We prepare short video materials. We with cooperate, we prepare our communication, because this is a big company. They have to know what we want to say outside. And with Biedronka Foundation, we have from many years, I don't know, maybe it's 10, I think, card for daily shopping for poor people. And this is 46 euro for 10 months and for 11,000 seniors in Poland. And this is 5 million euro. With Biedronka Foundation, we training volunteers from 10 dioceses. That is in total 500 people. This is training workshops from dietetics, body under food safety, online medical crisis, for example, how to prepare an evacuation backpack. And we have the next step this year, competition for integrational activities for school and parish Caritas clubs. And they in whole of this project from Geronimo Martin, this is almost 25 millions of euro on the year. This is the biggest our donors. Of course, like said Olga before, it's easier for business to give us something what they have in a warehouse. Yes, it's easier than collect money from them. But this cooperation with Biedronka is a good example when we have goods from our donors and the money to provide a project. So the next case study.
Thank you, Maya. I hope that you could wrap soon your speech, because we are then a small break, and but you can say some words still, but then I hope that we could have a small 5-minute break before the next speaker.
Then I understand that I have to finish my presentation.
Well, your total time was 15 minutes, and now it's sorry.
So sorry. Okay, the last case study, that was project with generally for single mothers houses, and that was a project when we talked together about this 1 year. And I want to say, but I don't have time today.
Yeah, you have many interesting examples, but I thought that if we could have a small break, so then we should.
Thank you.
Slowly go on. Sorry for interruption.
Okay.
But now if we have a 5-minute break and then 11:45, so if you please come back. Welcome back from the break.
Hello.
Hello.
How
And
are
now
you?
it's Maria. Hello, thank you. I'm fine. So you can start, Maria, when you are ready.
Okay, I'm going to share the presentation. A ver. Do you know how can I share the presentation and see the notes?
Actually, no.
Okay.
I don't know about the notes, but before it was a couple of seconds, it was quite fine, the screen presentation, but I don't know how you can see the notes at the same. But
if it's better for you, Maria, you can share it like this. Put a little bit more bigger, and you can see the notes in that way. You know, not in the presentation mode, but in that way. Yeah.
But now you see the notes, no?
yeah,
Yes.
No, it's not. No, no, no. Don't worry. Don't worry.
Everyone see.
No, no, no. Mhm.
I don't know how. Also, it's. Let me see.
Okay. I don't know, but in Teams, you have the option of pantalla. No, it's okay. Mhm. But is everybody back? No.
I think yes.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, they
Okay.
have just their cameras off.
Okay, okay, okay. Okay, so I'm going to start then.
Yep, please
Well,
do.
good morning. First of all, thank you very much to invite Caritas Española to this event. I'm very happy to have the opportunity to share with you what we are doing in Caritas Spain to promote donations and collaborations through corporate donors. First of all, I would like to share with you some issues that affect us, especially to the sustainability of Caritas, and I think is all the same in all over the world. Okay, so there is a lot of instability, social, political, and economical. Society is more and more polarized. We are facing new challenges in European public financing structure. Population is aging. Our donors are dying. There is a lot of aggressiveness from other organizations through the digital marketing. We are in the era of the data, but not any kind of data with purpose, data which allow us to take decisions. And we have an increasing demand of the donors, especially corporate donors, towards measuring the social impact and transparency. I don't know if in your Caritas you are facing the same issues, but for us, this is a problem. Not a problem, a challenge. Okay, just a quick overview about Caritas Spain. We have 70 Caritas dioceses, almost 6,000 parishes. Last year, we had 2,577 participants, and we invested 486,570 and seven. Sorry, I'm very bad with numbers in English. Million. The relationship with donors and institutions in Spain is part of the communication area, and with another four teams: advocacy, communication and awareness, studies, and then our team. It's very important to know the mission and the vision of the team you are working in, especially when you are working with corporate donors. Of course, the mission is transforming society, to build a more just and supportive world, but also is to build transformative relationship and collaborations. We want to raise funds, but is not the most important. Money is not the most important. We look for building stable and lasting relationships. We want the donations to have the biggest impact in people's life. We want to produce a change in society. We look for economical sustainability of the organization. And for all of this, we need a plan, a strategic plan. I'm not going to go through the plan, but just the main issues, and I'm going to talk only about corporate donors. First of all, we have to organize the database. A good quality database is 90% of the success of every corporate or every fundraising plan you do in your organization. If you don't have a current database unified in a CRM, modern CRM, it's very complicated. You can proceed with a fundraising plan. And then you have to maintain and update this database on a daily basis. Then you have to cluster your audience by stakeholders. Now we are going to talk about corporate donors and collaborators. In each stakeholder, you have to do a proper segmentation in order to adapt the communications you are targeting to these donors, in this case, corporate donors. In our case, for us, corporate donors and collaborators are private entities, business foundations, private foundations, public entities, business confederations, and professional associations. And we have 5 segmentation ways. First of all, by connection with Caritas, by sector of activity, by position of the person you are relating with, by destination, and by size. For us, this is the most important segmentation criteria, which is the connection with Caritas. We have the A+ strategic partners. With them, we have transforming collaborations. We have a very close personal contact from our team and a very strong institutional relation with managing director. And the database is complete in the CRM. Then we have the A, major donors. We have a personal contact, a strong institutional relation. They donate more than 6,000 euros a year, and the database should be complete also in the system. Then we have the B, middle corporate donors, small and medium companies. We have a personal contact. They donate less than 6,000 euros a year, and also very important, the database should always be complete in the CRM. And then we have another big group of corporate donors that they do transfer. We don't know who they are. They make spontaneous donations, and we don't have any personal contact, and the database is not complete. This is the biggest challenge in our team, because if you don't have the name of the company, of the person who is behind this company, you cannot establish any communication, any quality communication. Then we have the leads, because through the digital marketing, we get some leads, and then the potential corporate donors. Another way to segment, of course, is by sectors of activity. Within the team, we are 5 people, and each of these persons are in charge of several sectors. Each sector has their own specificity. It's very interesting to specialize in each sector. So the relation with these companies is going to be much more interesting. Then another is a way to segment, and for us this is very strategic too, is by destination, whether an impact evaluation is going to be needed or not. They can make a donation to a project, so they do the donation to a specific project, one or several. And normally the donor needs a final report. And this is where we are now facing a big challenge, because donors are asking every time more impact indicators with KPIs. And for us, I don't know in your countries, but for us, meeting the needs of the companies in this specific issue is being complicated. And then the donor that make a donation to a general action line, which is easy because they normally require a final narrative report. And then by position within the company, you don't face the communication the same way to your direct interlocutor, or the person who is in charge of action, social action or social responsibility, than to the president of a company. So we segment differently the content of the communication, and the person that signs the communications, and the person that goes to the meeting with the company. And then we define the strategy for these corporate donors. The strategy is based in two focus: B2B and campaign. B2B is everything you do to build the personal relationship, and campaigns is, of course, you have to share with your corporate donors all the campaigns that the Caritas is organizing in every moment. Both of these approach are necessary. You cannot strictly do the B2B and forget campaigns, and sending campaigns without taking care of the B2B. And it's very important that both of the approaches are in the same team, or if they are in different teams, they have to work very closely. I'm not going to go through the strategy, but for each of the segmentation that we have made before, that we have seen before, you establish the objectives, and then what you want to do in the B2B and in the campaign. So, for example, in the B2B, which is more, I think is more what we are looking in this meeting now, is we have to work together with board and other supporters to design the approach strategy with each major and corporate donor, and to build the prospect base. Then you have to take your time and offer a very personalized quality attention. You have to investigate the company and your interlocutor before going to the meeting to know what you can offer them, and to even to know what their needs are going to be. And you have to, through the year, promote meetings with different excuses in order to strengthen the relationships. And for example, you can promote meetings with presidents. Signing contract event is also an excuse to organize a meeting. Presenting the projects, visiting the projects, presenting personally the final report with the results of their donation, and reviewing the last meeting of the year to review the collaboration to renovate the contract. Before going to the meeting, you have to prepare it very carefully, and prepare also the presentation materials that you are going to use. Always comply with established deadlines. look for the best ways to say thanks to the donation, the most personalized way, send the donation certificate individually, and invite the key partners to participate in strategic events and negotiate from the beginning the terms of the collaborations with transparency. Okay, and then of course measure the results. You have to measure the impact of what you are doing, of your strategy. And now I'm going to explain the philosophical corporate model. I don't know if you are listening a very strong noise. Sorry.
No, we are not hearing. It's okay. Just hearing you.
Estoy con Europa. Ah, sorry, there is an alarm.
Oh.
You have to go, right, Maria?
Ay. I have to go.
That's okay, Maria.
Oh, I'm very sorry.
That's okay.
They are.
Don't worry.
What do you are say?
Okay.
Join later, Maria. Don't worry. Join later. This is an unexpected situation in our webinar.
Yeah. Well, I hope she's safe.
Probably it's a risk simulation or something like that. Okay. Can I stop sharing there? I don't know if I can. Yeah. Okay. I got it. Stop.
Okay. Now we could have time for discussion and end of her presentation, but I think could we just then move to the next part?
Or Laura, can I add a suggestion?
Yeah.
Once we didn't have time to make the open questions for our colleagues from Caritas Poland, we can use this time, this 5 minutes
questions
time,
to Poland.
And just then to recap a little bit and have give the opportunity to the audience to make questions.
Yeah.
Is it okay for you, Ola and Maya? I don't know.
Yeah, sure.
Maya, it's not there. Yeah. So it's anyone have a question? If not, I have. Monica. Go, Monica.
Hi, Ola. My question is concerning on the Club Dobra. It's a very nice idea, I think. What is the size of donation that defines the partners or companies that belong to this Club Dobra?
We don't want to uninclude any of company, but we suggest that the amount per year shouldn't be smaller than 1,000 zloty, so it will be
2400 zł to jest 556 euro.
500 euros.
Great, thank you. And maybe a second question, if I may, is about the networking dinner. And just, is it for fundraising as well, or do you offer it for networking only? Only is
The main goal is to meet with our donors with our companies, but we organize an auctions, and we collect a lot of beautiful photos from different countries from all the world, where we support people in need. And it was quite good income, but it's not the main, purpose of this dinner, because, like Maya said, it's the only it's our only occasion to thank you to say thank you for companies for major donors. So we don't want to do, you know, some fundraising actions in that evening, but it's, you know, something which is very, very very like just, you know, some extra, something extra on this event.
But
Not
this
the
is
main
true
purpose.
because it's going so natural, because when they have a question, then I know that they think about this program. Yes, and I can give them more information. And this network, what you ask, this is the same. It's going natural. Oh, here is a boss of something, and here is a boss of something else, and you can connection because you are both give you are a donors for Caritas for children or something like this.
Oh, thank you.
Oh,
Laura,
Laura.
Comcafort, go. Hi, Laura.
Hello, good morning.
Hello.
I had a question about getting the balance between companies wanting to support financially and volunteering opportunities for their staff. It can be a real challenge. I know it's one that often for CAFOD we don't have much, you know, hands-on volunteering opportunities in the UK. But I was wondering if you had any recommendations for negotiating that, or what your experiences of, you know, do companies that want to volunteer have a minimum requirement of financial support as well, or ways to continue engaging if volunteering is a challenge? And anyone else welcome to give their advice as well. Thank you.
Can I, Olga? Ola?
Yes.
Thank you. The second example that was about this. The second example, because this company generally first want to provide a volunteering for employee, and I said without money we can't. And of course I said this very carefully, you know, but at the end we find the way that we provide workshops in single mother houses, but part of them we have a professionalist for this. And second part of these workshops, they made people from Generali. How to make interview for job, how to make a curriculum vitae, CV for interview, how to prepare himself, how to look for this, and that can do HR department from Generali. That's why we're looking for the points. Can we meet together? That is the first time for Generali that in Poland they provide these workshops with people from Generali. And this year I was in the meeting with a whole of NGOs who cooperate with Generali, and I know that we have a very special dedicated program and we prepare this program 1 year. 1 year we have discussion to find the goal. But it's you know, question was about volunteering. Yes, of course, this is a problem. Easier for a company is give people to make something than collect the money for us. Yes, and
Yes,
every
but
time.
yes,
Ola.
but in Poland we always want to connect these actions with donation, because, you know, sometimes companies think that if they do some volunteering thing, it will be really great, helpful for us. That's not true. It's a big problem for us to organize everything and, you know, find something which will be suitable for this company. So like Maya said, we don't say no, you don't have to do only volunteering. We just suggest that we need support for different programs which could be connected with volunteering things.
Well, thank you for the discussion, and we actually continue our discussion then in breakout rooms after the next speakers from Caritas Vienna. So Teresa and Monica, you can
Hello.
start.
Okay,
Hello.
thank you for having us. Thank you for the invitation to talk about corporate fundraising here in Vienna. I'm going to share my screen. No, the technical issues. So I think it's working out.
Fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you. Yeah, we prepared a few slides about our daily business, our daily work in the corporate fundraising team. So there's my colleague Monica with us. And I think there are some small repetitions from previous speakers. It's also very interesting to have to handle the same issues or problems. So Caritas in Austria, it means that we have 9 diocesan associations, including Caritas Vienna, is one of them. And there is also Caritas Austria, Caritas Österreich as a nationwide umbrella organization. I think there are no colleagues with us, but I'm not sure, just in case. Yeah, and as Caritas, we have relief projects and programs, institutions here in Austria, organized by the different dioceses and also on focus countries all over the world. And Monica and I, we are part of the major donor fundraising team here in Vienna. That means we are 7 people about, and we are embedded in the communication department. And in our team, we have a few different responsibilities. As mentioned, Monica and I and one more colleague is mainly there for the corporate fundraising, one for the foundation fundraising. We have a colleague for the private major donors, and she's also building up the relationships with VIPs and multiplicators. And there is a colleague managing the huge amount of corporate donations in kind. And I want also mention the separate team from the corporate volunteering, as they are also organizing those social team days for companies in our projects. And they are also communicating with companies and very often with the same as we do. So yeah, let's see. How do we get in touch with those companies? I want to mention before that Caritas in Austria, but not Vienna, but also Austria, all over the nation, is one of the largest and therefore best known donation-based aid organization. So I think someone mentioned it before, companies are quite interested in working or cooperate with us. Nevertheless, there are many different ways. Okay, so there are many different ways we get in touch with companies. One is due to our strong presence in media, for example, because of our own campaigns nationwide, but also in the different cities. And then we have a press department, so we have a lot of reporting on our projects and institutions in the media. And last but not least, our CEOs and directors are also have a strong presence also in the public discourse on different socio-political issues. And of course, we as a team, we're taking part on different events, networking events and business circles. And also as a Caritas, we are taking part on organizing other events. What we know, of course, is very often people in companies are also private donors. So they get also informed by our mailings, regular mailings. And so they get in touch with us and maybe they want to get in touch also with their companies. Same as when they follow our social media channels or the influencers we work with. So what's important to know is all the communication for private donors can also the basis for a cooperation or communication with companies. And of course, we are doing like regular normal research and acquisition. For example, when we are looking for a specific company or for a certain program or project where we need donations, as someone mentioned before, when we need to fit it very well together. And the social team days is also a big. There are also coming many companies. For them, is the first touch point with us is the social team day. So then we try, once we did a corporate volunteering, we try to get in a better relationship, in a deeper relationship, also for donations in cash with them. I think Monica can tell us how we're trying to do this.
Okay, so let me just rush through that. Is how we build and cultivate the relationships to the companies. Many of you do this anyway, but what we think most important is the personalized communication. And that's when a company gives a donation and it's a new donor, then we try, or we send an individual thank you letter or an email with higher donations sent by the Caritas director. And we also include stories, quotes, so that it's an interesting communication. We do individual phone calls, individual emails, or even postal mails. For example, if we want to acquire new companies, Teresa is just working on one campaign at the moment. Or we do individual appointments. We invite to visit Caritas institutions, or we sit together for a coffee and speak about possibilities to donate. Support for the company communication that we give is the handing over of donation checks. It's often used for press releases or for their own internal, external communications. And we use it for talking about the cooperation generally as well. We offer quotes, texts, and pictures for press releases and newsletters. That's what we think was the best way to support the communications of companies. Next slide, please, Teresa. And some more other topics is like the support with collections. Many companies also want to do collections with the employees or with the clients. And that's very often money in kind, money collection, or it's sometimes also a collection in kind. And we also suggest sometimes they ask themselves gift matching, so the employees collect the money and the company doubles the donation. It's actually quite successful, and we also have an online platform that helps us to support these collections. Reporting, I think, Ola, you have mentioned it, is very important if needed. We don't like it too much if it's because the KPIs that are asked for, and it's very difficult sometimes, but we agree on it if needed. And another point for building and cultivating relationships is donation appeals. And especially when disaster strikes, it's very successful to ask our existing donors, and we also gain new companies in case of disaster. And altogether, what we can sum up is to stay open and attentive to the ideas and needs of companies. And especially if you meet individually, we always find some new ways to work together. For example, we have decided to make a video on street work together with a company that supports street work. And it's always very interesting what ideas come up. Teresa, the next slide, please. Yeah, and this is just an example of a media cooperation that has existed for a long time, nearly 20 years now. It's a nationwide media cooperation with one of the biggest newspapers in Austria, and is there for raising private and corporate donations for people who need support in heating their flats. as said, it's nationwide, and at the start, every year we make an appeal for the donations to multiple companies. And I've checked earlier on, we write to about 120 companies, existing annual donors for the campaign and new ones. What they get is, if they give a donation of about 5,000 euro, they will have a picture and a small text in the newspaper, and that's how they gain some visibility, and at the same time they do something good. It's a very successful campaign over the years, and so I just wanted to share it. If you have a possibility to have such a media cooperation, it's really nice. Okay. Teresa, can you put the next slide on? Yeah, this is just an example how the donation is built up in the media, and in the middle you can find the Caritas story about social counseling for people who are in need. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, then we have brought another example. It's an example for a long-lasting relationship, which has started about 30 years ago. I was not with Caritas then. And they have started with a family fund, the Bank Austria Family Fund. It's an annual giving, and with the relationship, they have started supporting with disasters. They have done employee collections and gift matching programs, not only for disaster, but for other annual campaigns as well. A very nice idea that came up was when they moved their office. They gave a huge furniture donation. We used this furniture donation to start a new color warehouse and selling good office furniture, and it was quite a nice idea as well. And well, after a long time, 3 years ago, we offered them to take part in the campaign that I mentioned before, the Funken Wärme, and they gave a donation, but they also asked their customers to take part in the campaign and offer a button in the online banking to take part. And the most recent donation from this long-lasting partnership is that they have a new learning cafe at their own location. It's the Bank Austria Learning Cafe, and they offer the space and give an extra donation as well. Okay, then I will pass on to Teresa once again, because we were asked to add a few points that we have stopped doing or don't think that work out well.
Exactly. Of course, we have a lot of key learnings, and so we know what we are doing or what we stopped doing. For example, the donation boxes. We did a few collections with companies on their POS or on their cash desks, for example, with bakeries or fashion stores. But due to strict regulations on cash collections, it got super complicated and, of course, super time intense. Also compared with the donation we get from there. So as well, as we all know, we have less money, less cash money in our pockets, even if we still have. But we have a kind of solution for this. So we have an online tool for individualized online fundraising by companies. I linked it here, so I think you will get the presentation. So if you're interested, just see. And what we are also avoid to do is communication for companies. It means we are not doing press releases for donations or smaller corporations on our own, but we offer quotes and pictures. So we offer the help, but we are not do the press release on our own. Same as on Instagram, we are not posting like thank you pictures from companies on our Instagram channel. We are not even sharing companies campaign on our Instagram, even when they are raising money for our project. it's just because it would be way too much content. And we are communicating on our Instagram really only our own calls for donations in money, or also very often for donations in kind. And we are only reporting our own projects and topics. But there's also kind of a solution for this. We are posting like this content, like thank you posts on LinkedIn. And this is very good also for the companies. Yeah, what we are also avoiding is doing cooperation with companies with higher image risk. So we have kind of traffic light system where we can check up new corporations, new companies, if their values are fitting with ours. For example, of course, there are like all sectors or companies dealing with gambling, weapons are a no-go. And of course, there are a few, we have kind of the red or the orange light. There we are going to discuss it first in team or with our head or CEOs if this cooperation fits us or not. And last but not least, we did a few think tanks for major donors, but I think we canceled the last 2 ones because there was not enough interest, not enough people who wanted to join us for those events in the major donor sector and companies. So at the moment we stopped this and think about a relaunch for this kind of events. Here. So I think we not too long. I want to thank you. Thank you for having us. And here.
If you have any questions, welcome.
Yeah, we have time.
So these are just like a few of the pictures we're doing the thank you post. Not all time with the amount of the donation, but with with other items.
Ola, I think I can see you have a question.
Yes, I have a question because as I understood, Teresa, you said that you use your contact for private donors or major donors and try to ask them to consider that their company could support you.
Yeah.
And how it works?
I mean,
it works?
Then we are not really asking private donors for working with the companies, but we know that very often because of our private mailings and the information private people get, they are asking also, I mean, when they are leading a company, when they are owning a company, or when they're in a position like the CSR position, then they are coming to us, they're telling us that they got in contact with the mailings, for example, and then they ask us if we can do something with their company. So it's not aimed or focused on asking private donors to bring in their companies.
Okay.
But let me just add, we have done that already as well, for example, in newsletters. If you have a specific campaign, we also ask if you work in a company and maybe the company is interested, ask. And very often it helps with the shops. For example, we have, as we call it, the goat shops, where you can do individual small campaigns, small donations, and we ask your company, your team members as well. And yeah, we cannot really say how successful this is, but we notice that very often it's team members or who initiate a contact.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. I just wondering how the feedback is, is it work or no? Because it's really good idea, I think. Okay, thank you.
There's another question, I think.
Yes, hello.
Yeah.
First of all, many thanks to the organizers and to everyone. There is a lot of inspiration to take out of this presentation, and it's really inspiring. So many thanks to all of you. And I maybe a more specific question to Caritas Austria, building on the last presentation, and as you refer to companies with image risk, but I think my question is also of interest for all the other presenters. This is something we're struggling with. How do we build a charter which is strong enough for us to prevent any damage to Caritas, but inviting enough for the partners? And how do you go about screening those corporate partners you might want to ally with? So for the charter on one side and the screening of the potential partners on the other. I hope my question is clear. But once again, thank you, everyone.
Yeah, maybe I can answer this. We have a specific paper that gives us the guideline, and that's there we also have the companies that we should not have as donors at all. For example, weapons. Then we have the ones that we have to check back with the board, like tobacco, oil. There might be a cooperation, but maybe not one that is public. So we wouldn't do a communication together, or we wouldn't like the company to do communication about the donation, and we say that very clearly as well. But if we have new companies, there is a guideline what we look at, and we have started, because it's sometimes very difficult to show it later, we have started to have a process to write down the information about the company, and to write down even if the board, if the director has given the okay that we contact or that we don't contact the company, or sometimes if they ask themselves, we have to say no. Unfortunately, we cannot do a cooperation. Yeah.
So this is more some kind of engagement of the company than a screening from Caritas. This is it. So there is no, they have to sign something and engage themselves within your charter. That would be.
Okay. You mean if they have to sign that they have the same values as us? Well, actually, I think it's never happened before, but
well. With we have some contracts, donation contracts as well, and especially with these bigger companies, then very often you have these the value point as well, and it's very often a need already, especially with whistleblowing and so on, that sentences according to such values are in the contract as well, and many companies add that already. And I think we don't usually ask for a contract ourselves because it's a lot of work, but we try to do, like, we don't get in touch with a company that we think is not good to be in touch with.
Many thanks. I see in the chat that Laura refers to good examples in the network. Should there be available at some point? I'm really much willing to have a look at them so that we don't have to reinvent the wheel. But thank you again.
Thank you. I put to the chat that I have seen those screening lists from Trocre from Ireland and then Caritas Italy. So I was thinking that if there's some ways to share those kind of lists to all participants, that I can ask. And now I'm watching the time, so if we have a little bit discussion time left in the breakout rooms. So Hugo, could you share us to 3 different groups, and we could discuss there for until 13:45, also 10 minutes. And I have the discussion questions. I put those on the screen here. So the questions are: why should the companies collaborate with Caritas, and how do we set a common goal for Caritas and the companies? And third question, that what benefits does Caritas give to the companies? So if you could reflect these questions in the breakout rooms that we are going to be soon. I
Okay.
put those questions also to the chat.
Yeah. So how many rooms you said it? 3?
Yes, so there would
many
be
rooms?
me and Ot and Anne in each room.
Okay, and I will be here. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, 2 rooms, 10 minutes, right? And then
yeah. Then
I
we
will
come
do.
back and then we gather the discussions
Okay, I
after
will
that.
do randomly. Okay, the room.
Yeah.
So see you. I suppose you are already receiving the invitations to go to the rooms. Yeah, that's right. Got it. Okay, is everyone now?
Mhm.
Yes, is everyone? Yeah, now, and we already have Maria, and I think she's safe. She's
I'm very sorry about this chaos, but we didn't know anything, and they have made simulacrum of evacuation of the building
Okay.
because we are being audited. So it was very serious, and I was shocked because I didn't know that we are making this simulacrum, and I wanted to stay, but they were pulling, they were saying to me out, and so I'm very sorry, but we are okay. Oh, we are okay. Thank you
that's
very
the
much.
most important.
Well,
Thank you, Maria. Thank you. Okay, Laura.
Yeah, I was thinking is Anne from Skiaf here. I don't see her.
And no, it's not here now.
Okay, but then because there are last minutes in our webinar, and I would like to hear that. What did you talk in the breakout rooms? What kind of discussion did you have? Could somebody share in the large plenary, please? We had one question that we were discussing that companies usually want to support domestic projects that are supporting people who are living in the country where the Caritas is. And there's this Caritas Switzerland that they had found a company that wanted to support a project in Ethiopia. But usually they want to support projects that are domestic. So what kind of discussions there were in other groups?
So, for example, we had the discussion about, I mean, my opinion was that for companies, it's important to cooperate with NGOs, with Caritas, because they have to make their own CSR strategy, ESG strategy, some volunteering thing, and we are an organization which could help them with it. Of course, for us, the most important is donation, but also I think that, like in Poland, we are very well-known organization, so communication could be really helpful for companies. Maybe some volunteering programs. I think that's really important that they know that they can trust us. We have annual reports, rewards for our actions. So I think that's the most important thing, in my opinion.
In Spain, we are. I was also saying that companies are not only looking for giving a donation, but they are looking for establishing strategic alliances with Caritas. They want to provide a response to social needs, and they think that Caritas is trustable enough to be able to give this response to social needs. And also they want to generate measurable social impact, which for us is a challenge because they are every time more strict with this measurable impact and KPIs. And so our challenge is to establish in Caritas Spain our own KPIs and impact indicators. So when we negotiate with the companies, we negotiate with the strength of Caritas, our own indicators. And that's it. they are looking for partners, and they trust Caritas in order to do this partnership.
Yeah, can I? We have also facing this problem, like to measure the impact, all the balance scorecards that companies ask for us to measure how many social and change impact. They are really complex. They asking a lot of things, and sometimes for us it's totally impossible. And what we are facing now, there are some NGOs, biggest, that really work with corporates, such as, for instance, in Portugal, like UNICEF, SOS Children Village. They are really focused on corporate fundraising. They really can give in an easy and quickly way this kind of indicators, this kind of language. And sometimes for us it's difficult to, if we have a small team, to answer what they asking for us. So we are facing now this problem. How can we mostly for the biggest, we are talking the biggest multinationals, and because they have those standards and they come from probably from United States or UK, and for us sometimes it's really difficult to answer what they request for the.
And Hugo, does it happen to you that these companies are working with consultancy companies that they say to the company, these are the KPIs and indicators you have to ask to the NGO, and this is even more complicated.
The corporate social responsibility of the department. So usually are having consultancy with these the agencies, external agencies, and sometimes they don't have any idea how is the work.
They don't know the social work, the social world is yeah.
Is there somebody else who want to share discussions or have some questions? There's still time.
Well, I can just very briefly say that in our group we were talking about how the Caritas identity it correlates with a secularizing world, sort of. And of course, we have different backgrounds. All what we had in our group: Poland, Georgia, Croatia, Slovakia, Estonia. But this is definitely sort of in some occasions it can be help, but in some cases maybe not so much.
Well, thank you for the questions and comments from your discussions. I put to the chat Microsoft Forms form that you could please give us some feedback about this webinar, and there is also space to write that what topics interest you in fundraising, that we could have our webinars in spring. We don't know yet the dates for the webinars in spring, but somewhere in March and somewhere in May perhaps we are going to have 2 more webinars. So you can write to the form or say now out loud if you have any hopes that we could build our next webinars with this group. Or then if you have any special guests that we should invite to be a speaker in our webinar, so you can also tell some names and then we can try to organize. But I will thank you for participating in this webinar. It was really interesting discussions, and I learned new things from this.
Thank you very much.
Bye. Thanks a lot.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye bye. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Laura.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Laura.
you.
Bye.
Thank you very much.